to the show and welcome to Quebec City. Tonight we're going to take you behind the scenes of a rock concert.
Not just any rock concert, the group is the Tea Party, one of Canada's leading rock groups. This concert is part of a Canada-wide tour.
And at every stop on the tour, the band's going to be playing with a different symphony orchestra. Now putting the Tea Party together with an orchestra may spell disaster, but not so for these guys. They've got science on their side.
We're going to show you the science and technology that helps pull this all together, including how sound engineers can make sure you hear a harp as clearly as you hear an electric guitar, how something called pink noise is used to paint the acoustic shape of a room well before it fills up with people, why the concert the band members hear is very different from the one you and I hear, and why our appreciation of music is intimately connected to our appetite for sex.
But there's no concert without music. And right now the orchestra is on stage, the fans are in their seats, and backstage, the three members of the Tea Party are about to start work for the night. It's time for this show to begin.
House lights à 50%. Go, s'il vous plaît. Fade musique. Go, s'il vous plaît. Stand by, house at zero. House at zero, go. Stand by, MC. MC, go.
Alors, mesdames et messieurs, the Tea Party!
Gentlemen, have a great show.
Let's rock and roll.
The last time the sound guy checked his levels, this place was empty. Now it's full of 1,200 people, and that completely changes the sound mix. Every person here is absorbing a measurable amount of sound, and they're absorbing more high notes than low notes. So the first few minutes of any show are a pretty manic time for the sound engineer.
And I'm lost, all control, temptation.
It's definitely a whole different entity, because now we're trying to, instead of just getting the band as the main focus, we basically want the symphony as the main focus and getting the band underneath it to fill it out.
Helpless as it steals my soul. And I'm lost, all control, temptation. We exist in a world where the fear of illusion is real. And we cling to the past, we deny, we confuse the ideal. What's inside we can see and believe in a God who can't feel, and I can't feel it.
This is the opening of the show.
Although we do own about 45 different instruments from around the world, we don't own everything, so naturally sampling has played an important role in our music.
Digital technology provides a number of opportunities which facilitate the incorporation of the sounds of other places and spaces. For one thing, sampling. You can sample the sounds of an instrument from another space and place with a very different timbre and be able to use that sound without actually playing that instrument in live contact.
The one thing that this band has always done is we've, to a certain extent, we've exploited technology, but in an organic sense, you know, so there's a real chemistry that's happening with what the Tea Party's music is all about.
The more natural sounding an orchestra is with microphones is when it's mic'd from not close, but like not too far, but at least maybe a little over my head and like say 20 feet in the air.
Tested by a fate
violin, instead of, right now we have these, what we call isomax, which you clip right onto the bridge of the instrument. And so the sound source is it's right there. It's, the mic's picking it up. It's like a few inches away. And so this way, you know, like a drum sound won't be as loud in that as the violin itself. I mean, you don't want the exterior sounds to overpower the instrument itself.
Believe it or not, that was only the second time the Tea Party and the Trois-Rivières Symphony Orchestra have performed that song together. The first time was this morning. The Tea Party may be on tour, but they're playing with a different orchestra at every stop along the way. So the first time these musicians even saw the music they'd be playing was when they showed up for rehearsal less than 12 hours ago. The first thing arranger Marc Willett does is run through some of the concert's more difficult passages.
Question.
He addresses any question the orchestra has, and then it's the sound man's turn to get to know the orchestra. He wants to hear them play section by section.
Second violin.
Deuxième violon, s'il vous plaît, même endroit.
So that he can get a level from each microphone and get a feel for how loudly or softly they're going to play. Usually, conductors get sections to play more loudly.
Oh, you still have room?
I still have that room.
Tonight, that's a collaborative effort, and these two don't have much time to figure it out. After the orchestra's had a chance to get to know the music, and the engineers are happy with their sound, they start playing with the Tea Party. And then it's a matter of running through each and every song that'll be played tonight, and grabbing a few souvenirs along the way. Stay with us. When we come back, more music, and we'll find out why a sad song can make the whole world cry.
Welcome back to a Daily Planet special presentation, Rock and Roll Science. Here again is the Tea Party.
This is called Soul. Fate holds a purpose. If you fate will lend a hand, it saves face, deserts you. It deals grace from underhand. And every time the passer wakens, every time your soul starts breaking, you can't stand.
Sad songs tend to be characterized, and I'm talking about the elements of music that seem to transcend cultural boundaries, but they tend to be characterized by a larger amount of dissonance. They tend to be characterized by a slower pace or tempo in the music. They tend to be characterized by our expectations being denied more than they're fulfilled. Sad music is generally not loud, fast, simple. It's more complex, softer, slower pace.
Public concerts like this one were unknown centuries ago. Then, musical performance was only for the rich and the elite. But you might know the name of the man who in the 1700s changed concert going into a public activity. Ludwig van Beethoven.
You won't say you're hurt.
Rock concerts and rock and roll music, popular music in general, has increasingly replaced what church used to do for a lot of people. I don't want to offend anybody when I say this, but rock concerts are places where rituals happen, where people can bond as a community, where emotional catharsis takes place.
A kind face just to overthrow.
The structure of the song emotionally, you know, what the song is conveying through the poetics as well, will play a big part in where it's placed in the set list, right? So it's the story that you're telling throughout the night. You know? Like a concert should really be like a story.
I think if you ask most performers, they'll tell you there's a little bit of science to their art. And for us in production, what we like to think is that there's a little bit of art to our science.
On a show day, I'll tune them when I come in, and I'll tune them again in the afternoon, and then again right before they're played. And you'll notice that depending on the temperature, they'll be constantly changing.
Thank you very much.
This kind of concert can be mentally and physically demanding for the performers. That's why in the moments leading up to it, the three members of the Tea Party prepare much like pro athletes getting ready for a big game. Drummer Jeff Burrows taps out rhythms frantically on anything he gets near. Jeff Martin spends this time quietly preparing himself mentally. And bassist Stuart Chatwood tries to relieve some of the tension.
Was I too early with Inanna, the thing? Because you cued me and I believe...
This is also the last chance for the band and the conductor to work out any last-minute issues from a long day of rehearsal.
It seemed to me that I was about to go. Little thing, no,
And at this show, you also hear this backstage. We'll see what happens when that voice gets together with the Tea Party and a 42-piece orchestra next.
Welcome back to Quebec City. I'm Natasha Stillwell.
And I'm Jay Ingram. Now more of the Tea Party and l'Orchestre Symphonique de Trois-Rivières.
And more of the science behind the scenes.
Without further ado, Miss Christine Williams, please. I told you.
An orchestra would be strong enough to overpower a rock band by itself. If we had enough players, say maybe 100 players or so, or something really like big, we would be able to overcome. Theoretically in decibels, for example.
Baby, I'm not that strong. And I'm walking wounded all alone. So are you coming?
Why do we like our rock music so loud? An English scientist thinks he's found the answer in a structure inside the ear called the sacculus. It responds to sound, but only loud sound, above 90 decibels, like the sound coming out of these speakers. And the sacculus has connections in the brain to places that enjoy sex and food, which I guess is why everybody here is enjoying the concert so much.
And I'm walking wounded.
Most sound around the 4,000 hertz, the 4 kilohertz range is where the greatest prospect for hearing loss occurs. If sound gets funneled in that frequency, which is naturally amplified by the ear canal and set up by other mechanisms within the ear to be received most loudly, that's where an inherent risk lies.
People use music almost as they might use a drug to change their moods. This is something that has been established in many studies, that mood changing is one of the primary motivations for listening to music. That's what people want to experience.
Is there an instrument or a piece of technology that you'd like to invent, that you wish you had?
Well, I thought of a bass where it was fretted up to a certain point, and then it became fretless for the top half of the neck, so you could solo really expressively, but then down low, you could just keep the rhythm of the song happening, so it's copywritten.
The computer becomes the brain for this mechanism on the bridge of my guitar. That's it's been replaced with this bridge that has 6 mechanical arms on it. And what this computer does is it translates tension into pitch. So, for instance, I can be in standard tuning, and then I can go to one of my open tunings, let's say like a low open C tuning in 1.4 seconds, and it does it mechanically.
How does it feel? How does it feel? How should I feel? How could I feel, baby, now? Christine Williams. And some of the parts of the job.
Needless to say, getting an orchestra, an opera singer, and a very loud rock band to sound like one is a challenge for the sound man. Getting them to sound good in every seat of the house is an even bigger one. But these days, engineers working shows like this have a secret weapon. It's called pink noise, and for hours on setup day, it's the only sound coming out of the speakers. Pink noise spans all the frequencies that humans hear. Microphones placed around the hall record the levels of pink noise and send the information to a computer. The computer shows engineers the acoustic shape of this room. For instance, if some of the low notes aren't making it to the back corner of the balcony, the PA is adjusted so that they will. And when we come back, you'll find out why the concert the audience hears is entirely different from the one each band member hears. Stay with us. Welcome back to a Daily Planet special presentation, Rock and Roll Science. Here again is the Tea Party.
I don't even need to have a guitar channel on my board. I mean, I do just so I can cover the room, but the people that are sitting in front of that guitar rig, that's all they're going to hear because he wants it so loud on stage. It's my job to deal with it. You can't tell him to turn down because that's the way he plays.
Everything's mic'd. The orchestra now is mic'd, so they're part of the rock and roll world. They're amplified this time. So I have to be aware with my in-ears, monitors, with the board and the monitoring board in front, be aware of what is the outcome dynamic. Because it's not the same. I mean, it's mic'd this time. It's not just analog. You know, it goes through an electrical process, and now I have to adjust things. You know, sometimes it's too brassy for bones or whatever, and I correct as I go along. So I'm sort of mixing a little bit at the same time my own orchestration.
Guy at the front mixing for the audience, but what about the band? What did they hear? Well, that's down to this guy here, John. He mixes what goes in their earpieces and what comes out their monitors, and each band member hears something completely different.
I've got the drums up top of the totem pole, and then we've got the guitar and vocals, and then bass guitar comes there, and then the keyboard.
Mr. Burroughs!
So I have just one ear that is an in-ear monitor, and the other one's open. So, and it sounds weird, but you just balance it off with your volume so that you hear sort of a stereo mix. But it enables me to place more things in here that are direct. Like my bass can go in there, so some stuff I really need to hear. Whereas this can be a more ambient thing where I can get a mood for the room and all that. And if anyone insults me, I can get right out there and take care of them. So, yeah. I've noticed that as soon as he started the in-ears, that his bass guitar and my kick drum were a lot tighter together, just because he's hearing things directly.
I've heard it so many times, and I know, you know, you got your strings going about here, and you got your trumpets and stuff going about here. You know, you see, you get kind of a picture. It's like a picture, you know, and you're putting the color in there.
Merci. Now I'm going to bring out the very beautiful Christine Williams again. Where do you see this outfit now? Come on, don't be shy. Come on. You ready, my dear?
Uses open tunings, which is you have a standard tuning guitar, E, A, D, G, B, E, so you can play certain chords in first position, but if you can change the tuning of the guitar to anything you want, so there's open chords ringing out, and that's what I do all night long, is I tune these guitars between different tunings for each song.
You say life is bittersweet. You've tried so faceless company has let you down again. Say it comes to this, and all those things you miss. A requiem won't change your fate. Lost and they set you free. Concerned by
The human voice, despite how incredibly rich a violin can be, a cello can be, or an electric guitar for that matter in terms of communicating emotion, the human voice can communicate emotion at a deeper, more primordial level.
One of the key elements in any concert hall is reverberation time, the time it takes a single sound like this to die away. Most halls it's about 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, but in something like a cathedral, it can be as much as 13 seconds. In this hall, 1 second.
I have a computer program that I use to basically point out the frequencies. Like sometimes I'll hear maybe an overtone and it's just on the verge of feedback, or it's just too boomy or something. Well, I can tell what the frequency is, and then I can actually zero in on the instrument that's making that overtone, and then I can adjust in that manner.
Steve Williams.
Don't go away.
We'll have more science, more technology, and more music when we come back.
Welcome back to the science of rock.
Now more of the Tea Party and l'Orchestre Symphonique de Trois-Rivières. Watch what happens when a song starts. After just a few beats, heads will start to nod as people's brains analyze the rhythm of the song, see the differences between the rests and the notes. The brain changes its own internal rhythm to match that of the song. It's called entrainment. Sometimes it's not just heads that start moving, but people's entire bodies. Only humans can change their internal rhythms like this.
They burn the savage soul, the twisted what it learns. I feel this life slipping by. I can feel this life slipping by. Desire is a state of ill repair. Ill prepared I feel this life slipping by. I can feel this life slipping by. Time and time life's left me only feeling sick, feeling scared. Love is strong, I'll go on and on, yeah!
We looked at Western listeners and Japanese listeners' perceptions of emotional meaning in Japanese music, North Indian music, Hindustani ragas, and Western music as well, and found that in fact they can decode the emotional meaning, what was intended by the musician in all three cultures, and they can do that by attending to some basic elements of the music.
I can feel this change and it's strong. Time and time I've left me only feeling sick, feeling scared. Love is strong,
Musicologists and more informed sociologists have said for a long time that meaning is encoded in sonic information. The quality, the type of bass line indicates a particular worldview as opposed to a different worldview. How bass lines come together with the phrasing of a vocal line, a particular groove that a drummer is setting up, and so on. All of that bespeaks a way of seeing the world. And when you have music that represents a very different way of seeing the world, you have your symbolic universe being challenged. What that means is you have your identity being challenged.
There are many aspects of a song that, can be appealing to an arranger, but one that I like to find in a rock song is the sort of uneven rhythms and syncopations, and oftentimes the weird modes of music, just like what we have here. We have an Indian modes of and melodies and sort of thing like that, and this is always challenging for an arranger actually. So, and that's why their material is so good actually to be orchestrated.
I actually still have, the boxes in front of me because I found that, being the front man and having to communicate with the audience, in-ears for me, like the in-ear monitors, doesn't allow for that necessary synthesis between, the band and the audience, like especially with me being the ambassador, between everything that's going on.
Not to take anything away from bass players, but rock bands are driven by two main forces, drums and guitars. That's why on most rock tours, These instruments get their very own technicians. For the Tea Party, that's guitar technician Trevor Gilchrist and drum tech Paul Atkins. Paul oversees a small army that will spend a few hours assembling and shining the massive drum kit at the centre of tonight's show. Paul has been travelling with the band for years, so he knows exactly where drummer Jeff Burrows wants his drums to be and how he wants them to sound. On the other side of the stage, guitar technician Trevor Gilchrist sets up shop. He's responsible not just for unpacking the dozens of stringed instruments, but for keeping them in tune and in shape. So he travels with a portable guitar shop, ready to handle any repairs the instruments need. During the concert, you can see Trevor after just about every song, helping Jeff Martin make the change from one guitar to the next. Don't call these guys roadies. They're musicians, they're technicians, and they're practically part of the band. Coming up, we'll see Trevor in action and find out why the best shows are the ones some band members can't remember.
Sister or mantra, which one?
Welcome back to the show. Here again, the Tea Party.
When the winter was over, she returned there to find him. And her memories, they filled her with lights. She remembered the beauty. She remembered desires.
Over time, the technology of the studio has allowed records that were not easily reproducible with standard concert technology. And we needed new types of technology in concerts to reproduce records because audiences were coming wanting to hear some replication of something they'd previously bought as this musical object that they adored on whether it was a 45, an LP, or later a CD.
It's amazing that, you used to do an outdoor festival with 40,000 people and you'd have 120 speakers up there. Now you do it with 18 speakers aside, just because technology is so much better.
What I thought about the Tea Party is that they were drawing on our natural propensity for fear. I thought it was kind of interesting when listening to them that they bring in an exotic sound and then they have these very low, slightly menacing sounds. And my feeling is that they were playing on people's desire for a fearful experience.
Let's rock and roll. On your marks, get set.
It's averaging out at about 110 decibels. Now, I've got to say you shouldn't listen to anything that loud for more than half an hour. But this concert lasts 4 times that long, so most of the people here will walk away with some kind of hearing damage.
Walk through these fields of delight. I want you to know.
I think we're going to look back on noise exposure at this level and see it as a product of the technical advances of our age and this desire to incorporate every nuance of what we know technically without fully relating it to what it means to the individual person. We've lost that connect between the human condition and technical capacity.
Calls of desire has left you for dead. Isolation will cradle the lies of things left unsaid. What will it take, sister, awake? Sister, awake. Hey, my sisters!
We tend to be actually acoustic based, believe it or not. Right? That's our intention from the onset. But then everything gets electrified, and it becomes a point where we're just going beyond our own expectations.
I'm very physical. I work very hard during the show. You don't feel much of that. It's almost like a runner, I guess. By the time we're done the encore and done the show, I just flop and I'm done. The same with Jeffy's.
Yeah, I find, like, for me, the best shows that I've ever done are the ones that I can't remember. And I don't mean that, through, like, intoxication or anything like that. I'm just talking about, like, if I'm really in the right frame of mind and I'm taking the audience, somewhere else, right? I've gone somewhere else as well. So I really do find that I'll be backstage and I won't remember what just happened, because it was bigger than, the sum of the parts, right?
Merci beaucoup. Papouette, l'orchestre, the Toronto Tackle Ensemble, Joanna Doss, Christine Williams, Sheila Hennigan, and us, the Tea Party. Thank you very much for tonight.
Boys, rock in! Well, the science, the technology, and the gear all came together to provide a great performance tonight. A performance that was powered, incidentally, by 80,000 watts of electricity.
Not to mention over a dozen drumsticks. Well, the night's over for the band, the orchestra, and the fans, but it ain't over for these guys. Their night's just beginning.
They have to pack up everything they just unpacked 36 hours ago, then ship it to Montreal for the next show. But that is it for us. I'm Jay Ingram.
And I'm Natasha Stillwell. So good night from Quebec City.
Give it a sound.